Namaste everyone. Welcome to the Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. And current session, ongoing session is on Aparokshanubhuti with Bindoji offering us deep insights into what Advaita Aparokshanubhuti is. And the text that he is following as a guidance, even though a lot of it is his own insights and interpretations, the text that you can follow through with him is pinned above. And that is actually a translation of this Aparokshanubhuti by Swami Vimuktananda. So this has a, Sanskrit and word by word translation. So there's some footnotes, but there's no detailed explanation. And so you can think of this compendium that we have Bindoji is offering as an English translation of that. Also in the chat, there is actually the Sanskrit document. That is Vidyaranya's, scholar Vidyaranya's commentary. So this is the 11th session we are having. The rest, the 10 earlier 10 sessions are available as replays in Clubhouse in the same house. Or you can go to the Advaita Retold YouTube channel, which is put in the chat again, and you can avail all those 10 things. And as we always mention in this room, listening to it will refresh your clarity, and at the same time, you're practicing this Ravana Manana, Nididhyasana. And so these sessions are held every Wednesday and Friday at 8:30 IST. And I think the rooms have to be refreshed, so I'll refresh the rooms in the house. And on Sunday, Bindoji is offering us a direct discussion on anything related to Advaita and even personal questions related to the path of practice. So with that introduction, Bindoji, over to you.
And I'm good now, just so you know. Could somebody mod me, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you both.
Okay, let's start. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Artemisia. Om Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Aparokshanubhuti. Sriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namanyaham. So in the 17th sloka, last class, ātmā vinishkalaha hi ekaha dehaha bahuviravrataha tayoraikyam prapashyanti kim ajnanam atapparam. So we said that Atman is without parts, vinishkalaha, whereas deha is bahu, means by multiple parts. And aikyam or unity or the identification between them, can it not be the height of ignorance, is what the question which Acharya Shankara is asking, which we discussed in detail. Now the remaining 4 shlokas are showing the level of ajnana in our day-to-day activities. Atma niyamakascha andar dehaha bahya niyamyakaha tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimatnyanam atapparam. So this second line is common for the next 4 more verses. Atma niyamakaha means Atma is the controller or the ruler or the one which is in charge of everything. Andar, and it is also internal. Internal means it is controlling the whole body from inside with the movement of prana, pancha prana, pancha karmendriya, pancha jnanendriya, mana, buddhi, and all those things are controlled from within, as if controlled from within. Dehaha bahyaha niyamyakaha. Whereas the body is external. The physical body onwards, everything is external compared to the Atma. So when we look at the Taittiriya explanation, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and beyond that is Atma. So when we looked at that, we knew that the grossest one is the Annamaya Kosha. So here it is referring to Dehaha, Bahyaha, Niyamyakaha, is being controlled from within, because only when the body is when the body is controlled from within, it can function as a instrument for us. Yet, tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimadat jnana param. So what can be the greater ignorance when identification of these two as one and the same? Now let us see how Vidyaranya Swami is explaining that. Punaha vailakshanyam aha atmeti. Again, vailakshanyam means the distinction between the body and the self is being narrated. Aha. Atma iti, starting with the word Atma. Atma niyamakaha niyantaha cha. The self is a niyamakaha, means regulator, or niyanta means controller, or the governing force from within. Punaha antaha pañcakośantaraha. This is what I said. It is again the innermost. So in the Kathopanishad we said no, as if we have been asked to meditate upon Atma as a Angushtamatra Purushaha, Hridaya Sthitaha. So residing in the heart is the Atma who is controlling the pañcakosha. Beyond the five sheaths, that is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. Whereas Dehaha tu Niyamyaha, San Bahyaha. But the body that is being regulated by this Atma is external to the self, and therefore is Niyamya, is being controlled by Atma. Tayo aikyam iti uttarardham vyakhyadam. Just as in the previous verse is now the way in which we have to understand in this verse also. Tayo aikyam prapashyanti kimatatjnanam param. Kim atjnanam atah param. Whichever way that is. The second half of the verse is the same from the next four verses. So, evam agre api jneyam. This is the agre api means the remaining four verses. We have to take it in this same way. So here, if you look at it, the body is comprising of the Panchamaya Koshaha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and beyond the Anandamaya is the Atma. The Taittiriya has given it for our meditation purpose. So, taking this as an example, the Acharya Shankara is using this, asking that it is a controller from there which controls the Anandamaya Kosha, controls the Vijnanamaya Kosha, controls the Manomaya Kosha, controls the Pranamaya Kosha, and controls the Annamaya Kosha. So he being the Atma being the innermost, and which is a witness, unaffected, innermost, and self-luminous, because none of the body can know itself. Only in the presence of Atma they function, but they have no knowledge about themselves. Whereas Atma is self-luminous. I am is not by any of this body. Yet, we identify ourselves as the physical body and say that I am fat, I am thin, I am old, I am young, I am walking, I am running, I am eating. All those things are of the activity of the body, which is now being attributed to the ātmā. Whereas ātmā is controlling the body to do. It's an instrument for the ātmā to function, or ātmā is using the body for the purpose of transaction, vyavahara. So this distinction prepares the seeker to correctly interpret the Mahavakyas. That is Tattvamasi, when we say that Tat, which is being indicated by the word here, as the Atma. Tvamasi means you are that, is to indicate the Atma within and not the 5 koshas which have been as at the level of our transactional purpose. And the next verse is Atma Jnanamayaha Punyaha Dehaha Mamsamayo Ashuchihi Tayoraikyam Prapasyandi Kimatjnana Mataparam. Here again, Atma Jnanamaya. The nature of Atma is Jnanamaya. See, this pratyaya, Mayat pratyaya, is to indicate that purity of it. It is pure consciousness or awareness. There is nothing in it other than that. So when we say Swarnamaya, it is only to show that it is 100% gold. So here the same Jnanamaya, Mayat pratyaya, is to indicate that Atma is of the nature of pure awareness. There is nothing which we can say that Atma is as, so where even though there are many methods in which it has been told to meditate upon Atma, like, in the Kathopanishads as Angutthamatra Purusha, in the other Upanishads it has been indicated as, like the bow and the arrow, and, how to do them, meditation on the Atma as if the Atma is hitting the bullseye. Like that, all those things which we have seen in our earlier classes. I'm not repeating them here again. So what is that? Jnanamaya means it is the self-luminous nature of Atma. So, whereas, and Punya means pure. Here, Punya means it is not the, good deeds or anything like that. It is the opposite of Ashuchi, Shuchi. Punyaha is here is used in place of Shuchi. He means pure Anandamaya. I mean, there is nothing more than that. There is only Anandamaya or Annamaya and Jnanamaya, what is left as the Atma. Whereas Deha is Mamsamayaha Ashuchihi. This body which we are identifying as Bindu or anybody for that matter, the identification with the physical body, and when we say that I am doing this, I am eating, I am sleeping, I am this thing, we are identifying with the physical body, which is nothing but Mamsamaya. It is made of flesh and blood and things like that. There is nothing called awareness or consciousness in this body. Only in the presence of Atma, this seems to be having the consciousness or appearing to have the cheshta or the aspect of life being shown by this body. Now, when this being the difference between the physical body and the Atma, Tayoraikyam, to identify or superimpose one another the another, is the height of ignorance, one can think. That means when we are identifying with our physical body and thinking that I am the physical body, this is my house, this is my wife, this is my husband, or this is my child, this is my property, all those things is related to the body. Whereas Atma is pure consciousness and it doesn't have to own anything. Because in the knowledge there is no ownership or anything, there is no activity per se. So that it is in that knowledge, even the body knows that, these are the things which are existing and I should know about it. All those knowledge also is being felt by the body only because of the presence of Atma. So tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimatat jnanam param. Same as the same last stage. So here Vidyaranya says anyadapi vilakshanya maha atmadi. But another set of vilakshanya or vilakshanata, which is the difference with distinction between the two. Atma jnanamaya prakasha rupa is jnanamaya prakasha rupa. See, this is one very important aspect. Jnana or awareness or consciousness is considered similar to prakasha or light in the traditional scriptures, because both have the illumining nature or knowing nature. In the presence of light only we can see things. Same way, in the presence of consciousness only we can know things. So these two have similarity in a lot of ways. Therefore, prakasha rupaha, when it is saying, it is not saying that it is like the sunlight or the light of a lamp or anything. It is in the light of this that everything is lit. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agni tameva bandham anubhadi sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. This we studied in the Kathopanishad. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. Na tatra means in Atma. Na surya na chandra. Neither the sun nor the moon can illumine that Atma. Nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agni. Nema nor the lightning bhanti can illuminate. Lightning is supposed to be much more powerful than that light in the darkness. It is so powerful that it has got both the power and the energy in it. Nema vidyuto, the vidyuti, or even the lightning. Kuto ayam agni. What to talk about this insignificant fire in front of us compared to the sun, the moon, and the lightning, etc. Kunto ayam agni. Tameva bandham anubhadi sarvam. Tam. So here the tatra is being referred here as tamam. Tameva bandham. Only in the light of Atma, anubhadi sarvam, everything else is known. Tasya bhasa, in the light of consciousness or awareness, sarvam idam vibhadi. Sarvam, everything in this world, idam, the idam is to show this jagat. Everything in this world, whether it is the sun, the moon, the lightning, even the lightning will be a lightning only when the consciousness is shining on us and our eyes can see the lightning. Otherwise, the Atma in the present, tameva bandham anubhadi sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhadi. Only in the light of that consciousness, sarvam idam vibhadi, this whole world of experiences comes alive only in the presence of Atma. Therefore, jnanamaya prakasha rupa. Atha eva punyaha shuddha. And that is because his maya, or there is no adulteration or taint in it, untainted. So it is, and shuddha means holy, because there is nothing to contaminate it. Dehaha tu mamsadi vikaravan. Deha, this body, which we are identifying ourselves as we, or I am, or this body, whenever we say that we identify with our body, that is tu means is, but mamsadi vikaravan is a modification of flesh, etc., which is subjected to matter like, the shatvikara, change, decay, impurity, etc., or the shatvikaras. Ataha eva ashuchihi. Therefore, it is ashuchihi means it is impure, unclean, because it can never be, itself. It will be always subjected to changes. And therefore this is the nature of what you call the body. Therefore ashuchi. Therefore it is compared as in the scriptural or in the philosophical nature as impure and unclean. Not as a physical cleanliness or everything. Here we are not talking about the physical cleanliness at all. Etena atmanaha stula dehadapi vailakshanyam uktam bhavati. Therefore, this shows that the distinctness of the self very different from that of the gross body, stula deha. Tayoraikyam ityadi purvavat. Tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimatnyanam atapparam. Like the previous verse where it has been mentioned that, to identify the physical body as I am the physical body, what can be more of a ignorance? Because they are totally opposite. In the Upodkada Bhashya of Brahma Sutra, it starts that, the way it starts is, Yushmadasmat pratyaya gocharayo vishay vishino tama prakashavat viruddha svabhavayo. The tama prakashavat, light, they are opposing in nature like the tama and prakash, means darkness and the light. How can one identify the body to be the Atma and Atma to be the body and saying I am doing, I am eating, etc. The activity of the body is superimposed on the Atma, and the nature of Atma of knower, all the knowing principle is attributed onto the physical body. So this mutual superimposition is the height of ignorance, and that is why it is called adhyasa. And in the next verse, Atma prakashakaha swachchaha dehaha tamasa uchyate. Tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimatnyanam atapparam. Atma prakashakaha. The nature of Atma is to illumine. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati, which I told you. Swachchaha, it is pure. In the light, in the sunlight, there is no darkness. The darkness of the sunlight is perceived when an obstruction comes. So the obstruction is the impurity, not the impurity is there in the light. Same way, in the knowledge, there is no impurity, or there is no way the knowledge cannot perceive. Even ignorance is lit or known in the presence of knowledge only. So we come to know for our own ignorance that I do not know the content of that knowledge in detail is the nature, because the knowledge, the nature of the Atma is even illumining the ignorance in us. And Swachchaha, because there is nothing which can contaminate it. Even we say that the ignorance is not in the knowledge. Ignorance is in the mind, which is being now lit by the knowledge. So there is no way that ignorance is there in the self. The self is never ignorant about anything. If we are saying we are ignorant, we cannot say, I do not know myself. That is the case we should say. But we are not saying that I do not know myself. I do not know myself as what, or what is my nature of my own nature. That may be a part of the ignorance. But I do not know that I exist, or I am knowing that knowledge of aspect of Atma is present in every one of us. That is the true nature of us. That knowledge or awareness or consciousness, whatever terminology you want to use, each one identifies with a different, word to the literature part of it or the semantics of it. Irrespective of that, it is in the light of that, or in the shining of that self-awareness, that we know that we exist. And we can never say that we do not exist, even in our deepest of the sleep. we exist, but we do not know what we are in the deep sleep. Therefore, we come back in the waking and say that I knew nothing. So therefore, the prakashaka swachha nature of Atma is well established. Whereas dehaha tamasa uchyate. The nature of the body is that it need to be illumined by the something else. Then only we come to know even the body. The mind, when emotions come, we come to know about the emotions only in the knowledge of our awareness. The awareness is which is bringing the knowledge awareness in us of our happiness and sorrow of the mind. Not to talk about our physical body. The physical body will come to know about, things only when the sensitivity from the physical body is illumined by the knowledge and the mind acknowledges it. So the deha, or the physical body, is tamasa, means made out of the what you call darkness or the ignorance aspect of it. Tayoraikyam prapashyandi kimatatjnana adaparam. So this is what this verse is, that here also Vailakshanyam, the distinction between the Atma and the Deha is being discussed. Atma swayam prakashaha san suryadivat anya sarva prakashaka. Atma swayam prakasha. The self is self-luminous, swayam prakasha. Even though, like sun, even the sun is illumined in the presence of Atma only. Therefore, the sun, even if it illumines the rest of the world, only when Atma is there, the presence of the sun is also known to us. It illuminates everything else, the sun. But the sun's presence also is illumined by the self. Ata eva swachchaha. Therefore, it is the purest of all this thing, untainted and transparent or pure nature of Atma. Prakasha guna dosha sambandha shunya ityartha. Prakashya guna dosha. Prakashya means one that need to be illumined or free from any association with the qualities or defects that belongs to things that illuminates. Prakashya gunaka. Guna dosha sambandha shunya ityartha. So there is no way it needs any contact with anything else for its own, presence being felt by every one of us. Our presence or our being is self-luminous under all circumstances. We don't need the physical mind or the body to know we exist. That is what happens in the deep sleep. Even when the mind is not there, we are not aware of our physical body, neither the sex, male or female, nor the position what we hold in our day-to-day life, nor the space or the location or the time. None of these things are known, yet the self-luminous nature of Atma is there. That is why the reason we are able to say, I knew nothing. But the knowing principle of myself cannot be dislodged or discontinued or disregarded under any circumstances. Asangohya ayam purushaha iti shrutehe. In the Shruti says that this purushaha, this Atma, is asangaha. Ayam purushaha asangaha hi. Is indeed unattached. Dehaha tu tamasaha gadadivat prakasyatvena jadaha. Prakasyatvena. By the nature of the necessity for illumination, to be illumined, is the nature of the body, like the pot, etc. The pot, etc., even if it is present, unless it is awareness is lighting the presence of the pot, we do not know the existence of the pot. It may be there right in front of us, but if the awareness is not falling on the pot, we will never be aware of the pot. Same is the case with our physical body. We do not know our physical body in our deep sleep because it is not illumined by the ātmā. Yet, on waking, we identify with the waker body, and in the dream, it illumines the dreamer body. Therefore, we become the dreamer in the dream and waker in the waking. And when we do not know, when it doesn't illumine any body, we become the deep sleeper and we say we knew nothing, but I slept well, I had a good sleep, or I knew something called absence of duality, or the absence of what you call the nature of multiplicity in the deep sleep. Therefore, the absence gave me this sukham, because when the sukham is infringed upon or attacked or even shared with the other objects, the happiness is never full. That is why we say Satchid Ananda Rupa. That is the Ananda Rupa is that Niratishaya Ananda, or the happiness which doesn't have any diminishing nature, because it is not shared for any purpose. It is pure in its own nature. Therefore, it is the ultimate of the nature of bliss. This is the nature of ātmā in the thing. But in the case of body, it needs to be illumined by the ātmā. Then only we know the aware of the body, that is in the waking and the dream. Like the Gadadivat, like the pot need to be illumined, the sun need to be illumined. Even though the sun is there or the moon is there, we do not acknowledge or we do not know the presence of the sun or the moon until the awareness is bringing our attention to the sunlight or the moonlight. Tayo aikyam ityadi purvavat. Tayor aikyam, that apparent identification between the self and the body. What can be more the height of ignorance when we do not know the distinction between the two and we identify the body as we are the body. Even though we hear this 100 million times, we are unable to de-identify with our physical body. How to de-identify with our physical body? Because for our transaction, we need our physical body. Therefore, in the transaction, we feel that the physical body is transacting independent of the ātmā, because we forget about the ātmā. And we think that we are acting because the physical body is capable of acting. But the physical body is not capable of acting independently unless the presence of ātmā is there. Otherwise, the dead body should be interacting with the world. We see that dead bodies are not interacting with the world. So that is why we need to identify ourselves with the ātmā, not with the physical body, even in our every moment of our experience. Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatva hi vindate. That statement of Kenopanishad is only telling us that in all the experiences which is through the body, mind and complex intellect, etc., it is that consciousness which is pratibodham, bodham prati. In each of our experiences, it is ingrained in it. It is in that substratum every experience is lit. It is in the light of the sun, the moon is lit, the planets are lit, the earth is lit, the trees are lit, the mountain is lit, everything is lit in the sunlight. But when we do the transaction, we are not acknowledging the presence of the sunlight. Our transaction is always assuming the sunlight is guaranteed and, it is present, available for us all the time, so that our transactions, we ignore our sunlight's existence when we do in our day-to-day transaction in the daytime or in the waking hours. Only because the sunlight is illumining the objects, we are able to see the objects. But even that illumination of the sunlight is illumined by our ātmā, which is totally ignored, and not only ignored, even to the extent that we do not even acknowledge the presence of ātmā, and we think that we are physically interacting with the world of objects because of our physicality and the world of objects. What can be more a level of ignorance when we think about it? At each of our action, the pratibodha vididam matam amrutati hindade, that one mantra of Kenopanishad is so powerful that when we think and analyze into that, even the deep sleep is known, the ignorance is not there in deep sleep, but the absence of anything else is what is known. Therefore, I say I knew nothing. I am not knowing the ignorance of the deep sleep, where a lot of people confuse that there is ignorance in the deep sleep. There cannot be deep sleep. As we all know that Sureshwaracharya often says that, Suprakashe kuto avidya. In the self-luminous nature of ātmā, how can there be ignorance? We are never ignorant. We are never possible to be foolish or ignorant, yet we delude ourselves by identifying that we are the physical body. And therefore, all the problems which is happening due to the identification of the physical body and the transactional world, we call it as a big samsara or big mundane world, tormenting and torturing us with sickness, aging, birth, death, etc. Birth and death is for the physical body, not for the ātmā. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said that to indicate that we do not have a birth or a death. If you are considering your physical body, yes. If you are a fool and if you are identifying yourself as a physical body, then for you there is a birth and there is a death, there is aging, there is a sex, there is a daytime, there is a nighttime. All those identification with the physical body will happen. But you are knowing your physical body, then you are the knower of the physical body. How can you say that you are the physical body? Pasyannabhijana pasyati muta. You are seeing it, knowing it, yet not able to de-identify yourself from that. What can be more of ignorance you can see? You are creating the ignorance in yourself. Being the ātmā, the knower, even the ignorance is known when the Shruti or the text is telling you are ignorant. It is the ignorance of yours which is you are identifying with the physical body. We are knowing it when the text is telling, when the teacher is telling, or when the explanation is being given. The moment the class is over, everything is over, we are back to square one. And we continue with our identification with our physical body. Advaita is not telling not to be identifying with the physical body and don't do the transaction. Let the transaction be done, but no, you are the ātmā. The transaction is being done by the physical body in your presence. You are needed for the body to do the transaction. So please do not think that Advaita is against transaction. No. Advaita is only telling, know that you are the ātmā in whose presence the body become potentially capable of doing the transaction. If ātmā is not there, you become a dead body and the body is to be buried or burnt. Yet, we think that we are the physical body, transaction is being done. And when we know that we are not the physical body and we are able to stand apart as a witness or a sakshi and look at the body being functional in the transactional world, we can de-identify with the problems of the body. That is what is called the mukti or the Jivan Mukti. A Jivan Mukta is a one who doesn't identify with the body, but he identifies himself with the ātmā or that knower. And he is always identifying with the ātmā. So therefore he is a one who, jnani, because jnanam is yes. One who has the knowledge that his true nature is jnanam or the knower nature of knowledge. How can he be not a jnani? He is jnani all the time. But he doesn't stop him from doing the transaction. Because his transactions are with the knowledge that he is that jnana swarupa, jnanamaya, jnana prakashaha, in the light of whose light the body becomes capable of doing the transaction, and the transactions are being done by the body, not by the Atma. He is only lightning. The sun doesn't become dirty or colored or, get kudos for what it is being done. It is just light, in the light of which the whole thing is happening in the world. Whether it is agriculture, whether it is with a rocket being sent into the moon, everything happens only in the presence of the sunlight. But the sunlight doesn't own anything. He is not the doer of anything. He is not a prompter of anything. He is not even a catalyst of anything. It is present all the time, even whether we call it as a day or night. So that being the state, how can we identify ourselves with the physical body? Is the question which is being asked. And in the last of the lot, Shankaracharya says, Atma nityo hi sadrupaha deha anitya hi asanmayaha tayoraikyam prapashyandi kimat jnanavada param. Atma nityaha hi sadrupaha. Atma hai sadrupa. Sad sadeva saumya idamagra asit. E saumya agre Sat eva asit. We heard this in the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, where Uddalaka tells his son Shvetaketu, my dear son, in the beginning, existence alone was there. And that existence, when became the world, it became Nama Rupa. Vacharambanam vikaro namadeya. Only by depending upon the names, it became objects. But the objects are nothing but sadrupa. Everything is sateva. But vacharambana vikaraha namadeya. When it is becoming dependent on the name and the form, it becomes objects. Sans the sat, sans the existence, there is no name or the form. Same way, without the mud, there is no pot, no lamp, no doll. The lamp, the doll, the pot, everything is nothing but mud alone. That is eva mrittigateva satyam. That mud alone is the reality. Therefore, tat satyam. What is the sat satyam? The sat is the satyam. In the last line, Uddalaka tells to his son, to Shvetaketu, tat satyam Shvetaketu, tat tvamasi Shvetaketu, tad tvamasi. Tad means tat satyam. Tat satyam means sat satyam. That satyam, what is satyam means that which never changes. We heard this in the Taittiriya also. Yanna vibhajarati tat satyam. What doesn't do any changes. Which one doesn't undergo any changes, satyam. So sat, the existence, can never become anything other than existence. It can become name and forms, but the name and forms, when they change, the change in existence doesn't take place. This is explained in detail in the 16th verse of Bhagavad Gita of the 2nd chapter. Nasado vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sada. That verse Shankaracharya explains this. Even when the pot is destroyed, the name and the form of the pot is destroyed, not the existence of it. The existence as pot has now become the existence of the pieces of the pot. The existence has not gone through any change. Same way, when the pot breaks or the doll breaks or the lamp breaks or the ornaments change or the world changes, everything can keep on changing in the name and form. But the existence in them never goes through any change. Therefore, they are all Satyam. Therefore, Sat is Satyam. Tat Satyam. Therefore, that is the Satyam, that is the truth. Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. That is your that. You are also that. Don't think you are the physical body. The physical body has going through changes from Balya, Kaumara, Yavvanam, Jara, etc. All those things from your toddler to the teenager to the youngster to the old man. You will keep on changing. But the existence doesn't undergo any change. What is changing is only change of the body, which is depending upon existence for its own very existence. Therefore, Satrupaha and Nityaha. What is Satyam is Nityam. So Nityaha means that which doesn't undergo any change, eternal. In the eternal, there can be never anything other than eternity. Because the moment something comes in the eternity, it is not eternity or infinity, it becomes limited. Therefore, Sat and Nityam are Paryaya or the synonyms, but to depict two aspects of it. One is the existence aspect of it, other is the eternity of the time also. So the time and the space, or the existence and the space, is the nature of ātmā. Ātmā is always existing in all the things. Everything has ātmā. Even a dead body has ātmā. When the body becomes a dead body, all that is becoming is the cheshta or the mobility or the life shown by the physicality of the body goes. But the body is, now the dead body is. Both are is. Both are depicted by the word is, means existence. The body existed with life before. The body doesn't exist in the dead body as life. It becomes lifeless. So, there also the existence is present. But here, Dehaha Anityaha Hi Asanmayaha is being mentioned here by Acharya to show that the identification of Atma in the Dehaha, when Atma is present, is where we are identifying with the body. We don't identify ourselves with the dead body. To indicate that is why here the word is given, Dehaha is Anitya, means the life, full of life body has now become a body which is dead or without life. Asanmayaha. So the asanmayatvam or the nature of non-existence in the dead body is the non-existence of mind in the dead body. The Atma is non-existent in the dead body as a lifeless being, is to be indicated as the asanmayaha here. So what is being shown is that is the life aspect when it is alive, the lifeless aspect when it is dead. So the Sadrupa and Nitya is to indicate the Atma presence and controlling the body. And when the body is dead, it is perishable because it starts decaying and withering away into pieces. But that doesn't happen when Atma is present in the body. Even though it is aging, changing from the toddler to the youngster, toddler to the teenager to the youngster to the old man. The body is changing, but it is not withering away. But the moment that it becomes a dead body, it starts withering away, becomes decayed and merges with the earth once and for all. And then the existence as a body which we see is now become existence of the parts like the worms and the, decayed body or the, things which are not identifiable as a body. Therefore, asanmayaha. Tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimadatjnanaparam. This body is ultimately, if the moment the Atma is not present, it becomes anitya and asanmayaha. Because it's not decaying, withering away, and it cannot be identified as nitya, because that's asanmaya. It will no more exist as the body. So here, the Vidyaranya Swami is saying, Atra sarvatra paunarukyam na ashankaniyam. Punarukti is considered as a dosha. Punarukti means repetition. It is not to be doubted here because sarvatra, that is in all the 5 verses, he is saying tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimadatjnanam atapparam. So atmanaha alaukikatvena atyanda durbodhatvad eva. Because the self is supramundane. Alaukikatvam is supramundane. Laukikatvam is mundane. Alaukikatvam is supramundane or beyond the worldly comprehension. Atma cannot be comprehended through the things in the mundane world, and therefore is extremely difficult to grasp. Because yet manasana manude yenahur manomadam, yet chakshusana pasyati yenahur yena chakshumsi pasyati, yena shrotrena shrunoti yena shrotram idam shrutam. All those things which we studied in the Kena Upanishads should be applied here. It is not the eyes, it is not seen with the eyes, but with which the eyes becomes potentially capable of seeing. It is not the ears through what we hear as object of sound, but that which makes the ears potentially capable of listening as sound. That is that. Yet manasana manudaya yenahur manomatam. Not what the mind is capable of imagining, intellectually conceiving or anything like that, but the potency behind the mind with which the mind becomes capable of knowing. That is what is the Atma which we have studied. Netam iditam upasate. Not what you understand here as Atma. So it is extremely difficult to grasp. Atyanda durbodhatvad is what Vidyaranya Swami is saying. Bahuda vailakshanyam pradarsyate parama karunikaihi srimata acharyaihi. For this reason, very reason, the great compassionate teachers like Shankaracharya repeatedly, punarukti, upayujya, by using the repetition, the distinction, the vailakshanyam between the two of the Deha and the Atma. Atma nityaha dvamsa apradiyogi. That is what he is saying. Atma nityaha means dvamsa apradiyogi. How does it dvamsa apradiyogi? It cannot be negated or destroyed. The self is eternal, nitya. Not opposed to destruction. Dvamsa, it is not opposed to destruction. That is, it is not even in a relation with destruction. But normally when we say that apradiyogi, dvamsa apradiyogi, the mind will go in a different direction. But here we have to take it as not even in a relation with distinction. The dvamsa apradiyogi. That means it cannot be even negated or destroyed. Pratiyogi means the one which is opposite of what is being explained. For example, a pot is pratiyogi. A pot is the vastu. Absence of pot negated. When you negate the pot, you say absence. So that is pratiyogi. So the pratiyogi is absence of the pot, and pot is the vastu. So now apradiyogi means opposite of absence of the pot. Absence means it can be pot again. But in the case of dvamsa, as the adjective for it or the qualifier for it, means destruction. The destruction, absence of destruction. When you negate the absence of destruction, means creation. Cannot be considered as creation also. Therefore, in either way, you can relate it to destruction nor creation, or in any manner to, creation or destruction. That is how the word dvamsa prayogi has to be explained. Tatra hetu hi yaha sattarupaha abhadya swarupaha. The reason for this is that the self is the nature of pure being or pure sat, and is inviolable, or it cannot be negated through any experience. The presence or the absence of ātmā is beyond any experience. So you can neither affirm it nor deny the presence of ātmā through any experiential means. So the experience through the body, you can never affirm the presence of ātmā nor negate the presence of ātmā. Dehastu dvamsa pratiyogi. Whereas the body is the dvamsa pratiyogi, means deha becomes like a pot, and pratiyogi means absence of body. He becomes the dvamsa pratiyogi. Is opposed to destruction or destroyable or perishable. Atra api hetu hi yaha asamanya anitya vikaryatvena bhada yogyaha. Here too the reason is that the body is made of non-being, asat, impermanent, and subject to modification, thus fit to be negated. The body, not the ātmā. Body is asat, asanmayaha, if we have heard that earlier. It is anityaha, means impermanent. Therefore, subject to modification, the body goes through the modifications, and therefore fit to be negated. Whatever is possible to be vikara or modification, that is bhadyatva, or that can be negated. In the conclusion, it says, yasmat evam ātmā dehayoho atyanta vailakshanyam tasmat tayoho aikyadarshanam kevalam ajnanam. So, to identify between the ātmā and the deha and transact in this world is the height of ignorance. If somebody is making that identification between the deha and the ātmā is one and the same, he is the highest fool and can never be, he can never differentiate himself or never redeem himself from the problems of the body. With that, the comparison between the body and the ajnana is over, and Acharya is now moving from the 22nd verse to another subject, which we will deal it in the Friday's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
Thank you very much for the class today, Bindaji, and thank you both for guiding us through the technical difficulties at the beginning, which were on my end. So anyone who would like, please raise your hand and come up, and we have time specifically to discuss today's class or this text. And you're welcome to bring your other questions on Sundays, unless we have a lot of time today. But please come up if you'd like to discuss. Welcome, Ganesh.
Namaste Ganesh.
Namaste Vindoji. It was fantastic. The difference between Atma and Deha, the Vailakshanya between the two. But somewhere or every time it is stressed that as far as this body is transacting, it is almost impossible to realize Atman. So, is there a positive note on which, see, this has to be, the Savana Manana Nididhyasa has to be continuously done, and that process is going on and on. But in spite of that, even after the conviction is achieved, even then these lines, this, as long as this body is, this body is needed to transact and even to have these processes going on, Savana Manana Nidhyasana. But in spite of that, there is, that line keeps coming that it is impossible to realize that with this mind or with this, as long as we are in this body. So is there a negative note, or is this left to, we can't say anything. I couldn't understand that. Is this an eternal search? The search should be on. That is all the message?
No. Find out who is asking this question. Ganesh.
Yeah, that is also true. The mind is asking.
But how can the mind ask without the Atma there? You are the Atma, and you are allowing the mind to ask this foolish question. And you are thinking, saying that I cannot know Atma. If you do not know yourself as Atma, you would not allow the mind to ask this question.
So it is getting more and more focused on the Atma aspect of our existence than allowing our petty mind to ask questions. Is that
yes
the sadhana, continuous sadhana?
Sadhana is to de-identify ourselves with our body and mind and intellect.
Yeah.
We are knowing our body, mind and intellect, their functions, and we know that we are aware of our body, we are aware of our mind, we are aware of our intellect. Who is aware? I am aware of it. I am aware of my mind, I am aware of my intellect, I am aware of my body. So I have to be different from that, no? The knower has to be different from the known.
Yeah.
This very moment you are that. Yet you are asking, how will I know Atma? Is a sadhana required?
So it is
For whom is the sadhana? For whom is the sadhana required? Atma doesn't need sadhana.
So no sadhana is required at all. The moment it is...
If you know you are Atma, you don't need sadhana. But if you think you are the physical body, then you need sadhana.
Yeah.
So tell me, who are you?
It's me, that's all.
Tattvamasi, that is what says there. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi Jai Ganesh Prasad.
Yeah. So it's only me, that's all.
Yes. It's you. This very moment, it's you. Who else can be?
But I just amazed at the fact that this mind is so mischievous and so much ever ready to ask and ask and ask eternally.
Who is letting it ask?
Yeah. That is true. Samyama and observe.
Because you identify with the mind, and then you let go the mind and to do anything what it wants. Then you will ask me, keep on asking question after the question, sadhana, this one, that one, all those things. That's what I said. Advaita doesn't tell that, the transactional world is not possible, not real or anything. Even in the transactional world, the transaction is possible only because we are Atma.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be dead body.
So here and now is the answer. Right now we are that.
Iha cheta vedi ata satyam asti. Na cheti ha vedi mahati vinishti.
What does it
You have
mean?
to learn it here in now. In now and now. If you do not know it here and now, this very moment, you are having the biggest calamity in your life. Having heard this, if you do not realize who you are, when will you realize? When you don't hear it? When you are working in the school, or when you are working in the class, or when you are teaching, or when you are singing? That is the time when you realize? No. When you hear it, that is Shravana Samakale Eva Jnanam. That's why it keeps on saying that.
Wow.
The moment you hear it, you should listen, you should know that. There is no other better time for it.
Binduji, could you please repeat that? Shravana
Samakale Eva Jnanam. The moment you hear, Shravana Samakalam means simultaneously, that there is no gap between the Shravana and the Jnana. That is why the Jnana, Shravana has such an important aspect of it. When you are being told Atma, why are you not knowing it that you are Atma? You are still thinking your mind, you are to do sadhana. Why are you doing that?
Excellent. By listening to all these things, I feel the greatest significance of the repetition of Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Ganesh. Namaste, Venkat.
Hari Om, Binduji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Atamish, Guru Prasad. Happy Guru Purnima in advance, Binduji.
Thank you. Great. That is tomorrow.
Have a great celebration tomorrow. We'll try to buzz you there. Binduji.
Yes.
This has been, I've been working through this over the weekend in a different method. The one very much satisfied with things of the world, and given there is better than this, there is an experience that is provided at the world level of world interaction, and there is an experience that arises in the world. Far more what makes one tranquil, more peaceful than the external world. Then The one who is sort of seeking will give up the external dwelling and try to come inside. There's a switching from there to here, but the one is still not given up even in the internal, meditation or, the internal states of completeness, gives that extra to not to dwell outside, but dwell inside. Be happy with it. Now, one guru come back and shake you up. There's something better than this. Gives the knowledge that you are more than this. The giving up need an incentive. That ego need an incentive to give up. That giving up need to happen, right, Binduji? The knowledge can be given, but what is the incentive to give up? That ego is holding. What is the better incentive here?
See, we have to understand one thing. When it is told that ātmā is Shuddha and there is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhava or Satya Jnanamanandam or Satchidananda, when it is being referred to it, we know that all the incentives which are being told are being experienced, enjoyed or felt in the physical level. And they are not having any quality of Nityatvam, Shuddhatvam or Muktatvam. None of them. They are not eternal, because all the incentives, whatever incentive you want to think in this world, is not eternal. It is not pure, because it comes with a baggage. You have to take it, because if happiness is there, sorrow will be there followed by that. Everything what you say that incentive, whatever incentive you say that, nothing lasts. Even if the so-called the Siddhi, the Ashta Siddhi, or the Yogic Siddhi, or the Bhakti, everything what you are saying is that they all will be related to the level of the body achievements. It is level with the physicality of the individual. But when the physicality is being identified here as an object and you are not that, the incentive requirement, what the body level requires, is not the incentive or anything which the Atma is as your nature. Because here you are de-identifying with the physicality at all. That doesn't mean that somebody you doing the yogic marga or the bhakti marga or the any other margas which are there, it is bad or unwanted or anything. All Advaita is saying is that even when you are doing yoga, when you are doing meditation, when you are doing bhakti, know who you are and do that. And when you are doing that, knowing that, and when you do that, you are not going to sacrifice or diminish the perfection in the activity. Because what happens is, in all our actions, when we identify with as the individuality, there is a content of expectation and a, aspect of space and time and object limiting the whole experience. So what happens is that we are not 100% in our yoga, not 100% in our meditation, not 100% in anything what we do. because there is an expectation in it, or there is a desire to it. This is a very reason why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu katachana ma karma phala hedurbu mate sangastva karmani. That very shloka from the Bhagavad Gita is telling us, when you are doing your duties, don't look for the incentives. When you do not have the expectation of the incentives or anything, how can you be doing the activity? You can do the activity 100% only when you know that you are the ātmā and you are using the body for the activity. But if you think you are the body and you are doing the activity, the limitation of the body is superimposed on the ātmā and you can't be 100%. But the power of ātmā is eternal, infinite, in nature, being in nature. Your 100% is now tied up with eternity and infinity. No more limitation of the body. So, any job which the body undertakes will be 100% successful. Because there is no limitation the body will be identifying with itself. It is no more the body which is doing the work. Body becomes an instrument. Nimitta matram bhava savyasajam. So you become the instrument and do the job. The body becomes instrument. And then you are doing it. The incentives are not anymore a matter of attraction for the ātmā, the one who identifies with ātmā. But if you are not able to do that, you will need incentives or, phalecha or the, phala kamsha or the desire of the fruits of action at the body level. Body means body, mind, intellect. Therefore, you will never be 100% in your activities. Your success also will not be 100%. It will, even if it is appear to be 100%, it won't be eternal. Because it will be superseded by something else later in time. Your achievements will be superseded by somebody else. Your achievement will diminish in value to yourself as the time goes by. You may have the medals in your living rooms hung all over the place, but it will all become memory and you will be reminiscing that. But the happiness which you got when you received the first medal or the medal for anything of that will not repeat again, because it cannot repeat. It happens only once. That is why it is not eternal. So all the things which we accumulate in our life has got a diminishing nature in it, inbuilt in them, because they belong to the world and the body identification with the world. But the same thing, if you are looking from that ātmā point of view, you are neither happy nor unhappy. Even when you received it, you accepted it as part of the play of the waker, and you are not affected by that anymore. So the life will be a game or a play where there is no need of an incentive. When you play without an incentive, you play with sportsmanship. You appreciate the opponent side player also equally well. You will give him shake hand when he does a goal to your post with a good kick. You will shake his hand because he has done a wonderful job. Because there is no cup or medal and incentive which is tempting both of you. It is a friendly match. So the world, the life becomes a friendly experience for us when you look at from the ātmā's point of view.
This is perfect, Banerjee. So I thought I'll share this experience. There are 3 states I carried as a takeaway from this. There's a method called Hatha Yoga, where the experiential world, it is sort of removed. With the higher states of consciousness, like different divine states are induced with the pranayama. So they are become more dearer because you will be asked to walk out and be in the beautiful nature out there. Now the beautiful nature, is, no way better than the internal divine states, because that is giving you more blissful experience. So this was these are finite only, as you said. There is finiteness in the worldly dwelling and the finiteness in the divine dwelling also. Then comes the bridges towards the something called samadhi, where that one who's looking for bliss itself is hit by, I think this is a different method to dissolve it. Using, that is where you surrender to the guru, that yogi guru who will induce that with a, bija mantra. There are methods on it. They induce in a way that one looking to get this incentive, the bliss itself is hit, and that is forced to collapse, like dissolve, like a free fall. It gives you the free fall experience without a bottom. So one looking for it is shut down. There you get to the state of samadhi. There will be kalpa. Basically, there is no. But as you said, with the entire teachings that going through with you, that awareness of what is going on, knowing, is helping to recognize all three things. That's the beauty here with the knowing. The samadhi, that free fall, captured. The knowing is the beauty here. So that sort of gives the mechanics of yogic experiences and diminishing outcome of getting into the experience. This is my takeaway. Now coming back to this knowledge you talked about. Knowledge, there is a being knowing. Being knowing. There is the word used is smara in I think you covered in Chandogya. That I exist, I know I exist. The smara, then the further extension of the same thing is, the knowledge extend to transactional utilization. This induction, you initially, is this the same thing that yajamanatva, that sarva yajamanatva, that all of this is coming from here on? Is it clear that the gnanam you covered, the sarak, I think it is in Taittiriya called sarva karanatvat. This is the point where the smara expands into the broader, that knowledge of, even describing, okay, here is ignorance, here is the right knowledge. That's a seed. The smara is the seed of all the knowledge arising from here on.
I'm not able to correlate with the terminologies what you have
In Chandogya,
used from.
it's called smara. The smruti is more.
Pratham smara, kruto smara is in is not in Chandogya, but it is in Ishavasya
is there. In Chandogya, in the Bhuma Vidya, that Sanat Kumara and Narada.
Yes.
Interaction, it keeps stepping back to the point of smara, and it goes beyond that. The seed.
There the smara is different, no? The smara is a stage where the mind, it goes beyond the mentation level. Beyond the mentation level, there is a state where it is a border between the transcendental and the others before transcendental. So that
Correct.
interface is called as a prasmara there. So, but that is still in the what you call realm of the mind. But the finest stage of the mind, where as I used you to know, is in the tip of the pole before the vault, right? Yet he has not left the pole. If he doesn't do it properly, then he'll be losing the game. Something like that. So, where here we have to understand is that use the mind for Hatha Yoga or any yoga for that matter. There is a knower of the activity. There is a knower of the elevated experiences of the practice of doing it. The knower is still different from the known. The knowing principle which is present in us when we are doing these yogas is the one which is acknowledging the activities of the yoga. And even in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi state, or the state which we consider at the pinnacle of yoga or the Samadhi aspect, unless the Viveka Khyadi takes over, it is in the realm of practice only or activity. But the moment the Viveka Khyadi comes over, there will be the shift of the person from the knower to pure knowledge. That is the word Viveka Khyadi itself is being mentioned. That stage is very, very difficult for a yogic practice to achieve. Because it is not impossible, but the achievement recorded by the yogis for that purpose are very, minuscule compared to those who have followed the Shravana Manana Nidhyasana method. It is much easier for the mind to be controlled through Shravana Manana Nidhyasana rather than the physical activities of the yoga. I'm not denying the yoga cannot achieve it, but the easiness of doing it is much better in the case of Jnana Marga.
I think you're right, Vijay. That's finally I figured out that Samadhi is maybe the pinnacle of achievement in yoga, beyond which Jnana can only, as said, Viveka Khyati, can only further that. Good, Binduji. This really sort of tallies a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. Can we close down admission?
Yes, we can. And again, thank you, Prakash, at the beginning. So thank you very much, Bindaji. We will all be meeting here again on Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST, 11 a.m. Eastern Time to continue these classes. The replays are available immediately here and within a day or so on the YouTube channel Advaita Retold. And again, for anyone who is not familiar with what's at Advaita Retold, there are some really beautiful classes there, including other than Upanishads as well. So Sunday, open Q&A at the same time, open discussion. I think that's all we really need to say, other than thank you for the people who come up. Everyone's invited to come up and kind of share your mind with all of us. It always benefits us. But mostly, thank you, Bindaji, for choosing to do this with all of us. You want to close us out?
Thank you, Atmisha. Thank you, Prakash. Welcome. Thank you, Ganesh Prasad and Venkat for the questions. Thank you all there who have been listening. We'll continue our class on Friday, same time, 8:30 p.m. Indian time. Until then, Hari Om. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.